We'll go through that. Exactly. All right.
So you're going to record it, Annelia? Yep. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, it started recording.
Yep. Thank you.
Recording has started. Yep.
Yep, that's good. It's a little message.
It's got the little red circle there, ticking away. All right. Well, I think we've all met before. I'm pretty sure we've done sessions before. So hello, everybody. Anyway. And just in case I haven't told you before, so I've been doing this for just a wee short while, 27 years to be exact now. 27 years delivering Microsoft Office, so Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Access, Outlook, Office 365 and Office 365 apps. I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of the kinds of topics that we're going to go through. So first of all, understanding what is Office 365, because people say, I just want to learn Office 365, and then they don't realise that Office 365 isn't just Word, Excel, PowerPoint. It's a heck of a lot more. And Teams is part of that package. And what you can add as part of Office 365 is apps. Just like when you get your mobile phone and you want an app that does, I don't know, you want to add the map, Google Maps. So that's another app. You want to add your banking details. That's another app. Well, Office 365 has lots of apps. So within working with Teams, there are other apps that we can add and use when we're playing around in there. So literally there are zillions of them. So I'm just going to show you where you can access them, and then a handful of ones that I found useful. And then from there you can, explore. But at least that gets you going. When you access Teams, you can access Teams via the web, meaning you would go to your browser, type in office.com. Then if you've used it before, your username and password will automatically come in and you're using it through the web. But just like everything with Office 365, we have it available for the web, but also for the desktop. And it just means that the apps, when we use Word and Excel and PowerPoint, and we use it but using the desktop, we've just got more functionality, more features than when we access it via the web. And the web just means that I can be anywhere in the world and know my username and password, jump on somebody else's machines, and I can still access everything. And that's the whole point of, the Office 365. I'll show you where the button is for download to the desktop so that you can, because if all you need to do is get into Teams, do your meeting and get out, then you don't need to be in the web. You want to be using the web because you then want to jump into OneDrive or you want to jump into other apps. Then you would be going, oh, well, then I'll stick to the web. So there are those two options. I want to go through the profile. So when we open up Teams, what am I looking at? Getting a bit orientated there with the status. You'll find that when you're working in Teams, a lot of this information, like your reminders and so forth, will actually be coming in through Outlook. So you don't have to always necessarily go to Teams only. So I'm going to show you how you can be in Outlook and get a fair bit of information that way, and also from within Teams. So there's different places where you can start off from, and this is probably why people find it a bit, a bit of a head spin. Where am I? Hang on, where am I getting things from now? Understanding Office Online. So that's what I mean by, Word, Excel, PowerPoint. Noticing the difference, because sometimes people get in and go, oh, am I on the web or the desktop version? Another app that's really nice to use is OneNote. Have you guys been using OneNote, or do you know about it, heard about it?
Heard about it, but haven't used it.
Haven't used it. So OneNote is a great tool when you're working on projects, because it's a place. I'll demo the one that I've got so that you get an idea of what OneNote is and how you can use it from within your teams if it's something that everybody in the team will want to use or share some of that OneNote features. Do you guys do lots of tasks, like assign tasks for yourself and assign other people to tasks?
I do on my piece of paper, yes.
Yep. You can do it on paper, yes. With Office 365, we actually have it, we've got Outlook, but there's other tools as well. So I want to talk about those so you've got the whole picture, because that, again, can all be used within Teams. So you don't have to jump in and out.
We have a spreadsheet that we have at the moment with actions, and they're assigned to people. So maybe that's something we can convert across.
We can add that to your team so that people don't have to go hunting for that file when they're there in the team and they're chatting backwards and forwards. They can go to that Excel file straight away.
Okay.
Way of accessing it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, what is Teams? They call it a collaboration tool, basically a way of sharing files. Instead of emailing attachments, which are now too large to email off, especially if you do PowerPoint and then add other files, it's just way too big. So we use Teams to share information, to do our meetings, and to access all of these other apps, but from the one place. We'll go through the process of, hopefully you have access to it, to create teams and also create channels. When you create a team, a channel comes with it. So a team, think about it as the big broader picture. I'll go through all of these in a sec and go through the chat. So I guess, have you guys used chats before in, all sorts of things? They're all, similar. You understand the concept. It's just finding extra little buttons with extra little features. Okay. Sharing our files, which will be through Teams, through OneDrive, and creating a virtual meeting and sharing your screen like I'm doing now. Okay, so when you're looking at Office 365, we tend to think of just this little piece here, which is just a small, tiny little snippet, which is Word, Excel, PowerPoint. OneNote is part of that Office bit. Then you've got your OneDrive, which is your cloud drive, so to be able to share your files. A couple of other apps which are nice to have. So you've got your Teams, but there's Planner. So I was talking about tasks, and a lot of people use tasks within Outlook. And so you can do your tasks within Outlook, but there's also an app called To Do. It's actually separate, but they're sort of slowly trying to incorporate it into Outlook. And that's the difference between using tasks and using Planner, is that Planner is when you're assigning tasks to other people. So you might have people in the team and you want everybody to know what all those tasks are. So like you said, you've got that Excel spreadsheet. So maybe you could use Planner rather than the Excel spreadsheet. Now, the benefit of using Planner is you'll have all of the tasks, you'll have who they're assigned to, and you get little reports. And I'll show you some pre-made up ones that I've already got, which will show you how people are going, what's still in progress, where things are held up. So that, and there's also like a calendar. When you look at tasks and you go, when's things due? And you sort of have to flick up at your calendar and then look across, and when was the other one due? And is it too close to the time that I'm allowing to do that task and this task? So with Planner, you actually get a calendar and it has like a marker, and that marker tells you, when you click on it, tells you the tasks that have been assigned for that particular date. So it's just kind of really nice to get an overview at a glance for the whole month for what's going on. So that's kind of what's different between Planner and, To Do and the tasks. Okay. Teams, well, we've talked about that one. Power BI, I don't know if you guys would use any of that, but Power BI is an extension of Excel. And if you've got large volumes of data that you need to collect and then give visual representations of that, that's what Power BI does. Okay, and it's part of this software. And that's only like...
Does Planner have reporting after the fact as well? As in, can Planner say there were 5 tasks completed on time this week? Or is it just really what's coming up?
Well, I'll demo the Planner so that you will actually get to see the reports that it shows you. Yeah. I'll give you a demo of that one. I've got that scheduled. So downloading it for the desktop. Yep. Okay. I'll show you where that command is. So explaining Teams. So Teams is like a top level. So it's a big, broad category name. So that would be like the name of either a department if you're working that way, or for you guys, probably be more like project names.
Yeah, clients, projects, yeah.
So you would have the name of like a project and then the team members that need to be involved or communicate in there. Now, once you create that team, you get a channel by default, which is general, and that's where you do all of your sharing and so forth in there. The general one is like everybody in that channel, but you might then want to create other channels that are more specific or relevant for subset projects. So within building a house, I need to talk to just the electricians. So I would create a channel for where it's called electricians, or it's called whatever it's called, and only those people within the group know that that's the one that's for me to deal with. So everybody still gets to see it, but you're creating sub areas. Now, I'll give you an example later on because there are some Teams templates. So instead of you creating your own channels and trying to think of a channel name for announcements, maybe I'll do another channel for completed projects. Maybe I'll do another channel and giving them your own names. There's a template there for quite a few different types of teams that you can build and create. And so probably explore some of those first, and then you can tweak, modify, and delete the things that you don't want. You can hide the ones that aren't of interest to you and go through that way. But that's the concept there. Another thing is when you're working in Teams and you're sending out posts, it's not like, I don't know, like you might do on your phone where you send messages and then you go, okay, well, that message is done and dealt with, so I'll delete it. Like you're deleting the history. This is about history. So you really tend to just keep everything. You can delete your post, but it's even when you delete it, it's kept for an hour to 2 hours so that you can then choose to retrieve it if you want. But the idea is once you put things out there, it's kind of like out there. So that's the way you got to think when you're working. And if you did accidentally delete a team that you didn't really want to, it was an accident, you've got 30 days to retrieve it. So.
And can you archive it only, like if we're finished on that project?
Well, the archive is more the hiding. So I think that's how you would do it, because they don't really archive as such. Everything's still out there in the open, but it does build up, and you're working on 500 projects and you go, well, those projects are over. I haven't dealt with them and I'm not going to go back to those because they're closed. You would just hide them. That way you're only looking at the ones that you're interested in. That's kind of the archiving concept you're going to get.
So you don't need to download it or anything. You know, if you want to keep the history, for example, but you don't want to see it, you just hide it.
Yeah, you hide stuff. Yeah, just hide the channel. All right, so your objectives, what you wanted to get out of the session was just get an understanding of Teams.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't know if anyone else has got any other comments, but I guess for us to understand, so we can go away and start thinking about how we're going to use it more broadly, but then also for us our highest priority is to be able to run Teams meetings without looking like idiots, because, you know, at the moment we've got to run them with clients and we don't know how to do it really, to be honest. So sharing screens, you know, that sort of basic stuff. Okay.
So to get into Teams, you need to get into the your browser and just type in office.com. So you can do that.
Want us to do that now? Yep.
Yeah. Do that now. All right. And once you're in it, on the top on the left, do you guys use office.com, like getting from here?
No.
So first time getting in here. All right, so this is where you access your Office 365, but from the web, your apps. On the top on the left, there's what's called the Apps Launcher. Now, when you click on there, these are all of your apps. So your Microsoft Office ones are there already. Your Word, your Excel, your PowerPoint should all be there, your Outlook. Is that correct for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And in that one there, you should have OneDrive. And you should then be able to see Teams.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once you see Teams, there's 3 little dots on the side. And what you want to do is click on those 3 little dots and say pin. That way it's always in this area up here. And in case you end up getting a lot more apps, it ends up going way further down or off onto another page.
I think mine already be pinned because it says unpinned.
Because it's already
Sound right?
pinned.
Yeah.
Mine's,
Okay.
yeah, because I've already pinned my ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you want to go through those and pin all the ones that you want to use all the time.
Yeah. Nat's got a hand up.
Yeah.
My Microsoft 365 looks different to yours. Did you go and personalize it with green or something, or?
Yes, I did.
Awesome. Okay, that's a good starting point. Now, when I look down the side on my left-hand side, mine didn't have all of the zillions of things yours does, and it doesn't have 3 dots anywhere. So
have you got the apps launcher button on the top left?
yes.
Yeah. And what do you see when you get into there? The dots only pop up once you hover. Once you hover over the command, that's when the 3 dots appear.
Yeah, it was when I had when I was going down the bottom of the list, the way that you had 3 dots down there, I didn't have that. That's fine. So when I'm on this, I've got Outlook, OneDrive, Word, Excel, etc. So do I want to click the thing that says all apps?
You can't see Teams on yours?
Hang on, let me go. I just clicked something. Always bad. Okay, got Teams. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So once you've got Teams, yes, you can just click on the 3 dots when you hover over there to pin it. That way it'll be up the top. Yeah. And yes, there is a button there for all apps. And when you click on all apps, that's when you can go and search for a whole bunch of other apps. And if you can't find what you're looking for, you've got a little search option there.
So normally you'd have to log in for this. Does that mean I'm logged in permanently or something? Because I didn't know you just stick in a login. You
didn't log in? Is that what you just said?
Well, when I went to it randomly to log in, and then I didn't need to log in, it just opened. So yeah. I'm assuming I'm always logged in.
You're always logged in. Well, unless you've gone in, unless at some point you've gone in to this side here and you've said sign out, then yes, you're always in.
Okay, but I've never been.
If you've gone in once, like, you know.
Well, I haven't. That's the thing. I've never gone into this thing before. No,
I'm assuming Mick would have done it. Nah.
I'm sure Mick's gone into it at some point. It's just, I'm looking at it and going, oh, it just opened up for me, because then I was like, well, what the hell's my freaking password? I don't know. You guys know your password. Mick would have done
it because he gave us instructions to do it when we first started, I think, on.
Right. Okay. I didn't have that. I just have a working computer, which has its ups and downs, really. Okay, cool. Sorry.
All right. So, so there you've got all your apps and you pin them. So from there we can click on Teams. So let's click on Teams. Yep. Now you guys probably have absolutely nothing on this panel here.
So does anyone
else somebody created some for you?
Does anyone else have more information required? Like, because I clicked on Teams and that's what happened to me.
Yes, I do. I have to sign in. But aren't I actually on Teams right now? I'm confused.
My Teams has come up okay. And we have a few things on the left because I think Jess has put a few things in just as practice.
Mick set them up, I think, just as a test for us.
Okay, well, mine wants authentication too. Lots of authentication.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, so yeah, you shouldn't have to do that every single time you come in. This is like the first time you go to use these things.
I don't mind thinking about it.
I've got a pop-up that says keep up to date, turn on desktop notifications. I'm assuming I should turn that on, Annelia.
What does it say?
It says keep up to date, turn on desktop notifications.
If you want to, yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, assuming that's just okay.
We'll just say yes for now, and then later on you can always go no.
Yes, I can turn it off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Is everybody in now?
I think I'm in, yep. Looks different to yours, but says welcome to the team.
Yeah, it'll be looking different to mine because you won't have anything on this area here. What you're going to have is activity, chat, teams, calendar, calls, and apps. That's pretty much that left-hand side should be the same as mine.
Yeah.
On the top on the right, you should have your logo or your photo. And then there's 3 little dots at the end of that.
I
And
do
that's
have
what yours is still trying to go in, is it?
Mine's still going around. Like, you know, the circle that goes
Oh,
around.
it's spinning, it's thinking.
Mine's still doing that. But it does say Gemaker and has my photo on the right-hand side, so it's positive.
Positive. All right. Shall I still, sorry, Yolanda,
You keep
do you
going
have a
for everyone
question?
else.
Oh, no, mine's got current clients there. Is that right?
Yeah, that's just a little
You've done
test.
that? Okay.
Yeah, that's just a playing around in it
I'm in.
thing. Yep.
Okay. So I'll just go through the overview of what we've got here. I'll start with the top left here where your little picture is, your profile. So if I click on that area there, this bit here is telling you whether you're, you want to let people know whether you're available, whether you're busy, do not disturb, and so forth. Just that one there. These ones here, so this is the main teams that I have, and the teams that I use is only for training purposes. I don't, you guys are going to be having people who are internal and external, and they're going to be setting up teams and you're going to be setting up teams. So you're going to be viewing that in a few different places. So when I'm in this teams here, these are the channels that I'm going to be looking at for this, for the organisation. So for you, that would be saying Gemaker. Like, do you have that on the side there? Is that what you're seeing there? No?
No.
No.
Natalie is.
No.
Yeah, when you click on yourself and it just pops up, it says Gemaker, ASM, Science and Technology Australia for me as the 3 teams that I'm involved in.
Right. And everybody else?
No. No, nothing.
No.
Nothing at all there.
Just
Okay.
manage.
So you
Just-
may, Natalie, you may already have some under Gemaker. Someone's already created a team or several teams, and then the other ones that you've got there, these are the ones where either external people have invited you to be part of their team. Correct? Does that sound?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
guest on 2 others. Yeah.
So the thing is that when you want to communicate with your external clients and see their teams, because you're going to be going, oh, I can't see Fred, Mary and John's team. Why can't I see that? That's because you're sitting in your one. So this one here would be the Gemaker one, let's say. You know what I mean?
And does everyone have Gemaker Party Limited next to their photo up the top on the right or not?
No.
They should
Right.
have.
No.
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 All right, maybe once we create a team, you will have. And Natalie, maybe you deal with a few different things than what some of the others do. So we'll get to that. But
Well, it's kind of weird, Annalie, because I've got in my left hand, like under the team's left-hand panel, I have got Gemaker Proprietary Limited as a team,
Yes, same.
but I can't see that in my photo. In my
underneath
photo.
that bit there.
No.
Okay.
Yes, I'm not sure why.
Yeah, that's okay. But so anyway, just what you need to know is that you need to switch in and out when other organisations are inviting you to be part of their team. Not inviting you to meetings, that's a different story. Just be part of an actual team where they want you to share and do posts and all that sort of stuff. Okay, so it means that whenever you want to talk to them, you're going to need to click in here so that the teams that show up here are the teams relevant for that client. You click on the next client and you should be seeing the teams that are relevant for that client as you start working with them.
Mm-hmm.
We have one client, but we have a different email address for them. So in that case, do we need to log log in again as the other email address?
Well, when you click on this button here, it will ask you correct. It will ask you to log in with whatever email address you used to whatever you gave them.
So right now we're part of two, or I'm part of two teams. How do I merge them into one if I can? Right now I don't have the option there.
No, from here, this is only when you have been invited as a guest. So there's a mix of internal and external people. So if you're all internal, so whoever you're dealing with, so is internal, you'd be dealing with this one. This one here is because there's internal and external clients. So the clients invited you and somebody else and other people from their own organization. It's a mix.
So I don't have those options. I'm just saying that when we get a team meeting from our other client called Alkane, then I mean it just logs me automatically into their account. But if I was in here, I just have to log out and log in again to access that.
No. Meetings, as in calendar meeting, is different to a team.
Okay.
So if you're invited to a meeting, that's you don't need to be part of a team just to have a virtual meeting.
Okay.
So I can invite, anybody I like to meetings and have meetings with people. That doesn't mean that they're a team.
This is more for collaboration as a team. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, Tim, if Alkane, I mean, I don't know. So what Tim's saying is we work with a client and they actually have created email addresses for us with that client name. So I'm assuming Tim would need to log off if they suddenly wanted to collaborate with Tim through his Alkane email address.
But if they want to add him to teams, not just meetings backwards and forwards.
To collaborate in a team.
Okay, if they want to use Teams, yes. If they actually want to use Teams, then yes, that's right. You have to log out and log in with their email address that they've given you. That's correct.
But not to attend a meeting with them. That's just to collaborate as a team.
Yeah. Now, in this area here, you can also save messages. So once you've sent posts backwards and forwards with people, it just gets out of control, and there's posts that you might go, oh, I want to go back, or they've mentioned something that I might want to go back and reference. So you can actually mark them as saved. I've done a few of mine, and we'll do this in a minute. So when I click on saved, I'll just show you what that looks like. On the left-hand side, you get to see all of the chats that have happened that have actually been saved. So I thought, oh, somebody made an announcement and I might want to go back to that announcement at some point or other. So I've marked it as saved so that I can refer back to it. Sometimes what people do is send an attachment in the chat rather than sharing it in the team, which is much better because then everybody's actually opening it. Whereas the attachment, people are going to download it, and then there's another floating copy of it, and all sorts of things. So yes, you can send an attachment, and that might be for a one-off kind of thing, but if it's something you want ongoing for people to keep on using and sharing, you wouldn't send it as an attachment in the chat because it'll be a nightmare for them to find it later on. They have to go hunting for it. It's better if you put it in the actual channel. All right, so I'll just go.
That's got a question, I think, Annalie.
Yep.
So when we get invited to join things, and it says to us, you're going to have a better experience if you join this team instead of that team, because, say ASM invites us to a meeting to discuss their things and we're part of the ASM team. So should we be then changing over and going, yeah, sure, I'd love to be part of the ASM experience and do that? Is that what you should do?
Well, it's up to you.
That's what we need to work out, Nat, how we want to work. Like, do we want to, when we've got a new client, for example, who uses Teams, do we want to create a team called ASM Grant ABC?
No, it's not that. It's ASM use Teams. And when ASM use Teams, they invite us when they've got things on. So it's not a matter of do we? I don't want to set up any more freaking team things on our end.
No, but if they invite you to one, I suppose is what I'm saying.
Then, well, if they invite us to one and it says, you know, we can use the one that we're on, or we can use their ASM channel or whatever, then what's the best thing to do?
Well, that's
I'm
a
asking
decision
the-
for us into. Oh,
No, I'm asking the person who's Anil. Look,
Anil, yeah.
sorry, yes. But what one are you supposed to do? What one's best?
Well, it just depends on how you're communicating with people. So they're inviting you to join their channel, and then they're inviting you to do what else?
So we've been a guest to their I guess it's a channel, whatever it is. So they do everything on Teams. When they invite us to something, they use, you know, Teams. Teams says to us, do you want to continue using, I don't know, Gemaker Teams as opposed to using ASM Teams to interact with them?
Well, you would want to stick to theirs because that's where they want to communicate with you.
Right,
because
that's my question.
So if they're initiating it, then, you know, it's up to you as an organisation then to use theirs because they're initiating it. So I don't know if they're initiating it because they have other people that they communicate with in that team. I don't know your role within that team of theirs. You know what I mean? I don't understand their. You know,
their whole company is on Teams, and
but when they set up Teams, you're one snippet of. You might be one snippet of who they add to Teams. You're one client. They might have another client, plus their internal people that they've created a team for. So you'd want to go with what they've set up.
Okay.
So that means not to see how Annalee's got IT team open brackets guest.
Yep. Just one sec. I've got to get the door.
You're right. I guess that means that if you want to see, if you accept it to use their team going forward, you need to click on that in order to see that team and that channel.
Yeah, okay. Well, because when we came into this invite today, it had the same thing up, which is, you know, do you want to use Annalee's or do you want to use Gemaker? And I went, well, I always click Gemaker because I don't know what's going to happen when I click the other one. Like, I'm going to have to suddenly
that's about
find
joining a meeting. That's about joining a meeting, isn't it, versus a team?
Well, in that particular case, so Annalee, when I went to join today, it gave me the same thing. Do I want to do it via Gemaker or do I want to do it via whatever your setup has? And I always default to Gemaker because I don't know what's going to happen when I press the other button. I don't know if I'm going to have to re-log in with some other new password. I don't know. I used to have a password for ASM. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what your message that you're getting on your side. So, which one did you choose when you came through? What did you pick? Gemaker, or did you say you picked?
Gemaker. I always pick Gemaker because I don't know what's going to happen if I choose the other thing.
Yeah. Okay. I'll move on, but I might get you to join later on again and just do a snapshot for me of that message. That way I think I can be a lot clearer about what that's actually what you're seeing from your end. You sign in? Yeah, sorry about that. All right, so what we'll go through on the left-hand side here down the bottom, so join or create a team. So if you can click down the bottom there and hit create, join or create a team on the bottom left. Are you seeing that?
Yep.
Okay, there's an option there to create a team. So when you create the team, you can create it from scratch, which we are going to have a look at. But this is what I was saying, that there's a whole bunch of templates already pre-made up that you might want to go with. So there's one here for project managers. And when you choose that team, it automatically creates channels for you that it thinks you might want to use in relation to that type of concept. So there's managing events, if you do that kind of thing. There's one for incident responses. So there's a whole heap of different ones here. I've already created one for incident responses. And I won't go through the whole piece, but I'll just show you. It wants to go a bit slow. Oh, sorry, I wasn't patient enough. There we go. So it suggests these channels, which you don't have to go for. I mean, you can hide some of those channels or choose not to use them. And it also suggests, because of what you, the team that you chose, it suggests some apps that you might want to use in conjunction with that one, like make up bulletins, maybe you do a lot of approvals, maybe you use a lot of Excel and so forth. Yeah. I'm going to come out of that. So let's go create from scratch. And we're going to create a private one because we specify who we're going to give access to. You're not going to do a public one. Anyone in your organisation can join. So private. You give your team a name. So we're going to have to use different names, and you're going to be creating a different one. So I just start with your name, just that you, and maybe say okay to trash. That way we know it's one that we're just playing around with. Yep. And then generally you want to put in a description of what this would be about. And then just create. Then you just need to start adding the people's names that you want to add to the group. These can be internal or external people. Oh, I think I missed some of it. Oh, there it is. Didn't want to accept that one for some reason. Couldn't find this one. Did you guys get yours added in all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
So it's just full email address. And if they're not a Teams user, does it matter, Annalia, or?
No, they don't have to be a Teams user.
Okay.
All right. So we add all these people in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you can then close. Okay. Did you see your team now on the side?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So there's the team name and general. So you always get a team and the channel for general that comes in. Now with that team that you've got, whoops, there's 3 little dots that appear on the right. You seen those?
Yeah.
Yep. When you click on the 3 little dots, this is where you can choose to hide it. So you're talking about archiving them. So when you get too many teams that you create and then you're not dealing with those teams anymore because the project's finished, you could ask to hide it, and there's a little panel over here.
Okay.
They end up there, and then you can always go there and then unhide them.
Okay.
All right. So from here, you can also delete the team. So if you created the team, you can delete the team. If you didn't create it, you're not going to be able to delete it. Okay, only the creators can. When you create your team, it might be a good idea to assign somebody else as the owner as well. That way there's two owners. So if one person leaves the organization, at least hopefully there's the other person. Otherwise you have to keep going to IT, and then they're going to have to, you know, do whatever they do to get through. All right. If we click on manage team, so the little command just there, manage team, this will allow you to see all the team members, which mine isn't. It's either that or it's a bit slow. So in your one where it says owner, I can't do it, but you should have a list. Actually, I don't know why mine's not showing.
Yeah, you
I
can
was
make
just
other
gonna
owners.
say that your team has not come into my list yet either.
Yeah, same here.
What was that? Sorry, that my team?
Yeah, so the Annalie OK to Trash team has not appeared over on my side.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
neither.
Yeah, okay. What I found for you guys internally, I bet you it came up almost straight away.
Yes,
Mhm.
it did.
So what I found is when I go to create these, it can take, I don't know why, it can take quite a while to get from here over to external. So it could take, it depends on everyone's, you know, systems that they use. So yeah, it can take a while when you do internal and external, but internally it usually works pretty much straight away, like you guys have found with yours. So what you're going to see in yours under members, so I'll go to another one of mine so that you can see this. You're going to get a list of members, and where the list of members is on the end, you see guest. You seeing that? Okay. You guys would get an extra option that I can't see, but next to guest, you should have a little drop down, and you can click on that and change them from being a guest to being an owner.
I'll say member, Annalie, because they're members of our team, I guess.
Or member.
Yeah,
Mine
member
says
instead of guest.
Member, but isn't there another option to change them from a
There
member
is.
to an owner?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So member to an owner. Yep. And that way you can have, which I'm saying is like a safer thing to do, is to have, you know, two owners to a team.
Yes. Yep.
Because so many times I've heard of people, you know, people leave and then they can't access this stuff or got to go hassle IT.
Yep.
All right. Something else that you can do in your members, like when you're creating your team, you might have, I don't know how many people you invite, whether it's just 4 or 5, or whether it's 10, 20 or 50 people that you might have as part of that team. But sometimes within that team, you don't want to, you know how you can do the @ mention? You guys have been using that with the @ sign. So it's like tapping someone on the shoulder and say, hey, for your information, hey, pay attention. Out of everybody in the group, I need you to specifically pay attention to this. So what you can do is create little tags. And when you hover over the side, you can create a tag and say, all right, I'm building a house, right? That's the team. And within that team, these people are the electricians. So you could create a tag. Let's see if I've created any. None for this one. You could go there and create a tag for electrician, right? And you can create as many of those tags as you want. So I'll do a couple. That way, when you send a message, you can say @electrician, and then that will include those extra 3 people, or however many people you've got.
But they wouldn't be included normally?
They would be included normally, but
Okay.
when you do the @ mention, it's like tapping them on the shoulder and say, because not everybody reads everything. Not everybody reads everything. Yeah, so this is kind of like really bringing it to their attention. So that's what these tags can do within the subset. You can also, when you start using the team and you wonder whether, is everybody using this team, or have they sort of dropped off and not been using it anymore? There's actual little reports. So under analytics, you can see how many people are using it, how many apps we've got going in here. You can see if there's any data that's actually been shared or not shared. So it just gives you a little bit of an idea of whether, is it worth us keeping this particular channel, or have people been using a different channel when it really should have been this one, or you know what I mean? Because it tells you how people have they been replying, have they been, you know, how many posts are in there. So it's a good place to come and have a little bit of a report.
And what about documents? Is that saved in there as well somewhere, if there's documents that have been shared?
I think it was a bit further down.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Let me see. Active users, meetings.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, it's spinning. No, not telling me about the files in that bit there. Yeah. All right. But it can tell me apps, like all the apps that I'm using in this channel, so that you can go, no, we're not going to use this one anymore, and you can sort of lift them from here. Okay. So from this area here, so that's in the team. You can choose to leave a team if, you know, you go, well, I don't want to be part of this team, or they've included me accidentally, or whatever the story is. You can choose to leave that team so that you don't keep getting messages and stuff from these people, or in regards to this particular one. And then you can add a channel under that one. So before we add a channel, I want to show you the template teams that I showed you earlier. I've created this one from before, so that was the incidents one. So they automatically create the channel for general. They created a channel called announcements. So depending on how you're using that particular group, whether it's just about announcing things, logistics and planning is another team's name that they've used there. And there's a couple that I've hidden because, like, I didn't need planning and recovery. And you can come over here and say, I want to show them, if you want to, you know, deal with those again. So I don't know if any of the pre-made up templates, you guys saw the templates, because sometimes IT hides those template options as well.
Could see them.
Yeah. Okay. So then they've given you access to those so that you can run off with, you know, if any of those, do any of those suit you? Do they ring any bells for you?
The onboarding one looked like it would be good for me because I onboard staff, potentially.
Okay. So
I assume that means I can kind of set one up as a template and then I can reuse it every time I have a new hire. Is that what that
it'll be
like?
Well, yes, that's right. If you wanted to, yeah, do it that way.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So within that team, got here general. All right. So when you do a chat, so you can do a new conversation, what you normally get, which is a pain in the butt, is you get just this slim line to do your chatting with. And the problem with that is when you type something, type, you always press enter, right? Because you want to send it off. But I don't want to send it. I want to do another line underneath and do some bullet points, or do a little bit more, you know, information there. I don't want to have to, because when you hit enter, that's it. It shoots it off. But in Teams, if you, in the chat here, if you hit the conversation option, and if you go a little bit further to the button that says format, it actually expands it, and it gives you that broader area. That way you can do even a subject line if you wanted to. And you can type the body here. And if I hit enter, it doesn't shoot it off. It gives me a new line. Yeah. So have a look at that. Did that work out for you guys? Did you see the little button? It's the first one on the end at the beginning. Sorry.
Yes.
Natalie, is that button there for you? Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, that's just one thing that I found. People found that like a little bit frustrating and annoying because, you know, you just hit enter. Now, you can still send attachments, as I said here, but my recommendation is if you're going to send an attachment, if it's an attachment for like a one-off for that thing, and then they don't need to keep on revisiting and it's not something that needs to be shared, then I wouldn't, then sure. But otherwise, no, you would put it in the files area. Any files that need to be shared and accessed as they want to access it, I wouldn't put it in the attachment because it gets lost in the message, and then it will take them forever to scroll up and down and do searches to try and find it. Now, you can use emojis. I don't know how, you know, your things are in your organization about
We're not that friendly, Hanley.
Yeah, some, like I was surprised when I've done some of these sessions and some organizations were really into it, and I go, okay, must be a very young company. But they were very into those.
So the file section you'll show us earlier, will you, in a second? Because that's one thing we probably would use.
What's that?
Files.
Yes.
You'll show us. Okay.
Yeah, I'll show you the files. Yeah.
Yep.
And the other thing you have here is the praise. Some organizations like to, you know, say, you know, got good job, well done, and all that sort of thing, and actually kind of let everybody know, not just in passing as you see them in the water cooler, you know what I mean? So, I don't know, again, it depends on what the vibe is in the organizations that you deal with, whether they find that corny or whether they find it really good or whether we need a lot of that. But, yeah, have a look at that. So you've got the name of the person you can put up there. You've got the little personal note, and you've got a whole bunch of these little emoji things you can pick, and the background color. Are you guys into that stuff?
Oh, internally, probably not externally, but
not externally.
Internally, we might use it.
Yeah.
So
you can
when
also.
when you send a chat, how are people notified about it?
Sorry, they get an email.
Okay. So we're come up in their Teams or come up in the email.
Say again.
So it doesn't pop up in Teams if they're in Teams. It just comes via email.
It will give them a notification here in Teams, but also you get it in Outlook as well. And that's another thing. When you create your team here in Teams, when you guys go to Outlook, can you go to Outlook for me? Not the one on the web, the one on your desktop. And then tell me if your team has shown up, because I don't have my this one connected to my desktop Outlook because I run this just for training. But what you guys should see on your desktop version, I'm on the web one, you should be seeing a group section. Do you see that in Outlook, your Outlook for the desktop?
No.
You don't see a little group section?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, and you should start to see the groups, the teams that
Oh,
Oh,
down the bottom.
Yep.
Yep.
you get. You might have to scroll more than usual.
It says that I haven't joined any groups.
Yeah, you should be getting an email asking you to join, and then you have to say yes or no.
Okay, I haven't got that.
I think they're in our other folder, Jess. You know, there's the focused folder, then there's other. It's sort of like.
Oh, it's that other folder. Yeah. Yeah, they are. I see.
So what you can actually do is you don't have to play in Teams. You could actually stay in Outlook, which is where you kind of live. And in here, you will see all the teams. You'll see the conversations backwards and forwards, and you can actually converse backwards and forwards from here. You don't have to go to Teams for it.
So it doesn't really save on an emails, Annalie, because that's it. You know, like often people use these chat functionalities to keep your email inbox down. But it doesn't really do that, does it? I guess it's just a way of having consolidated.
It does because it's in a different pocket, basically. It's in this area down here, and it's not cluttering your inbox. It's not in between your inbox and in between everything else. And when you want to converse or look at conversations that are taking place, you can see them here. You're getting little numbers pop up to tell you haven't read this chat, you know, and whatever's going on there. Sorry, Sam, you had a question, sorry?
Yeah, so when they're I've got the Microsoft Teams coming into my into my inbox saying you've been added, but there's no mechanism on there to accept it. It just says, do you want to open it in Teams? So therefore they've come into my inbox, they've not come into my group.
Yeah, same, Sam.
Are you able to share your screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we should do that.
I'll put mine up. Is that all right?
Yep.
Yep.
I'll just stop sharing mine. Hang on. Yeah.
Okay. Does that look all right?
Yeah. So
Yep.
open. It's asking you to open Teams.
Yeah. So I've already got Teams open, I guess, but
Yeah, mine's the same, Sam. And then it's when I've opened Teams, it's not going into the group.
Down the bottom.
Yeah.
But these things, I think, sometimes are a bit delayed. Like when you start when you start a group, they sometimes take a little while to come through. And if you're not seeing the group, the other thing that you do, yeah, I'll go back to sharing my screen.
yeah. So yeah, I was going to say, so I've done all that, accepted it, it's opened it and everything, but it's still not coming into groups in Outlook.
Yeah, it might need, like I say, there's sometimes a little bit delayed, like mine sometimes don't even show it still, but there is an option on the left here where you can say discover groups. And when you click on discover groups on the left, you can go searching for that name that you were supposed to be seeing. And like I say, it sometimes takes a while. Sometimes it can take me 24 hours before it actually kicks in and starts showing in there. But you can search for that group that you've been invited to.
Sorry, where's the discover groups? I can't see that. Because we were in the desktop Outlook.
Yeah, on the desktop Outlook under groups, all the very last two command buttons.
No, we don't have that, Annalie.
Oh, okay.
If I right click on groups, it says there's an option for new group or browse groups.
Browse groups then. Okay, so yours must be just worded a little bit differently.
Browse
because
groups.
I'm on my web one because that's the only way I can see it. So yes.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, so it might be worded a little bit differently.
I still can't seem to find the new ones that we just created, mind you.
Yeah, but I think they do take a little while to come through.
Take time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so that's where you can deal with them in there. The other thing I would say in terms of your meetings, I would, sure, you can go into Teams, you can go to calendar, and you can create a team meeting, like either click here or hit the button here for new meeting. But the only thing I found when I do it through Teams, if I want to send an attachment, I just for the actual meeting, I don't have that option here for attachment. But if I create the meeting from Outlook, which is where you generally live anyway, so if you went to your Outlook and went to your calendar, so normal calendar in Outlook, and create a normal meeting as per your normal. Do you guys have the Teams meeting button up there?
Yeah.
So Tim, was that a yep for you too? Sorry, did you have a question?
Oh yeah, just had a question about in the chat function. Like I sent a chat. Did anybody get that by email? So is that delayed too because the group hasn't set up yet?
Depends if
I can see it.
I sent one too.
So I didn't get any in, so I was just wondering, is that sending?
Nobody sent you one.
I sent one to the group.
Yeah, I sent one as well, but it's in the chat. But I didn't at anyone, so you wouldn't have got a indication.
Email.
We wouldn't still be notified, even if you didn't at someone.
You should. You no, because you're part of the group, so you should be notified. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't got anyone.
No, I haven't either.
Well,
I can
maybe
see
the
the Teams.
notification is not turned on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do that.
We'll check that in just a second. So just to make my little point here about in terms of creating a meeting. So this is how you would create your meeting, put in your, your normal meeting, your title, your dates and so forth. And there is a button here to say team meeting, which will make it a virtual meeting for you. But in here is where you'll have access to the attachments. If you did want to send an attachment and not a shared file, it was like a one-off thing that you wanted people to look at. Yeah. Sometimes, because maybe it's an external, I don't know, piece of information or something. Yeah. So that's how I would go through and create your meeting. And your meeting, once you create it here, should be showing up in here. And also, like I said, mine's not connected, so I can't see it that way. But you guys, if you create a meeting, you should, if you create it in Outlook, it should still show up here. Do you want to, you tried it? Yeah, that's right. So then it still shows up here.
Yeah.
Now, let's just go back to the top here for a minute.
Do you have a question now? No. Okay. It's all right. Your hand's up.
Oh, yeah.
That's all right.
I had it up from before, but I've just had
That's
my medical specialist call me, so I'm just fixing something.
Okay. What was I going to say?
So maybe the chats are.
Yeah, from these three little dots, by the way, if you wanted to download Teams as your desktop app, download the desktop. So it's the three little dots, and that's where you would get that. There's shortcut keys too. There's not a heck of a lot of shortcut keys like there are in Word and Excel and all the rest of them. But if you like your shortcut keys, you can have a look at these ones here, and you can sort of, maybe print those out or something.
I've just gone into the channel notifications, and it looks like all new notifications are off. Like, I think when Mick set it up, I'm assuming he set it up custom for all of us.
Right.
And it says all new posts, notify me every time there is a new post in a channel, in this channel. This is the general one, and it says that it's turned off.
So you got to turn it
I assume
on.
that's, yeah, I assume that's the default. I can turn it on. Oops.
Yeah. Do you want to just share your screen and show everybody where it is on yours? I'll turn it on.
Yeah.
And you can share your screen.
Yeah. I'm not very good at this, so this is mine. So it was just in, you can see that now. It was, I clicked on these three little, because I'm just in Sam's one because I know she sent me a text. I mean, there's three little dots, channel notifications. I've turned it back on to all. It was on custom.
Yeah.
Which I don't know what banner and feed means. It had this, it was off here, but I assume by turning it back onto all, then I should get all notifications now.
Yeah, you want it on all.
Yeah.
Because sometimes from certain channels you don't want to be notified, so.
Yeah, but that means I should get it in Outlook now?
You should, hopefully, yeah.
Okay.
And on the top, the left, see that little bell and it says activity? That's,
yes.
Yeah. That's where they all go into.
Ah, that's where they live. Okay.
Yeah. So that way you don't have to go to each channel. Here you're just seeing everything that's been...
Everything that's happened.
Yeah, and you can see it's bold when you haven't read it, just like normal message stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. All right, so when I'm in this channel, okay, so in this channel we've got the post, but we've also got files. So rather than sending them as attachments or sending them in email and so forth, you can go to this file tab, and that will be all files for this particular channel. And you probably, it's the same, probably the same thing when you go to your Dropbox, I presume. So you can say upload, and you can upload files or folders. When you have your files in here, so the files I've got here is to be shared, sharing files. Everything that you've got in here is going to be in training, in mine, called Training Core General, which is also found in my OneDrive. So when I go to the apps on the top here, and I go to my OneDrive, your OneDrive has, it's kind of like, you remember your organisation drive, everybody has their own personal network drive, and then they have the company network drive. Well, and you used to have Z, X, Y, and all these letters. Now they're your team numbers, team names. So the Z drive that everybody used to use to deal with all your marketing stuff, that's actually now got a team name. So when you're in OneDrive and you go to My Files, these are your files, and it's up to you if you choose to share them or not. Nobody's looking at these unless you choose to actually share them. So that's where they.
So this isn't our company OneDrive, Annalena. Like so.
So this would be your personal, your company OneDrive, but it's your personal one.
Right.
So it's not like your S drive, or people used to call it S drive for share, right? It's not that one. This is like, you know how you have like a G drive or H drive, and that's your personal. Okay, that's kind of like what that is.
So the problem with that is, I guess, is if we're in a group and we share a load of files, so I share one, Tim shares one, whatever, they're not centrally stored on our team, on our company OneDrive.
So what you have is you have two drives. So this one is your personal one, and then you have your team. So in here is all the teams. Here's the training one, and this is the team for training. Yep. Which then has the folder for general, which is actually not a folder, it's really the channel. So when I click on that channel, then I'm actually able to see. So this is another place where I can come in and see and add and upload files for that team, for that channel. So
but then when we're finished this project, I guess my only concern is then when we're finished this project, can I find that if I'm not going to go into the team through this, I can't go into OneDrive and find that easily?
No, you can still go to OneDrive. It'll always be there in OneDrive.
Oh, okay.
In Teams, you can hide and unhide it, so you don't have to look at it. But in here, you're really looking at the whole lot.
So our file structure in OneDrive is going to reflect the teams that are on.
Yeah, Teams and OneDrive, they're the same.
Right.
So anything that you load up through Teams, you're actually loading up into your OneDrive, unless you I don't know, decide to put it somewhere else, I guess. So I can be in OneDrive here on the web. I'm on the web and I'm uploading files. But we don't work on the web for when we're in OneDrive. We work on our desktop. So what you then have is your OneDrive on the desktop. Now, what happens is sometimes people have come into here, uploaded a file, then they go to their desktop the next day or something. They go, oh, it's not there, it's not there. So they go off and download it. Now, when you download, you're making a copy. Okay, you've taken it off and you're actually making a copy if you say download. And that's what people have accidentally done, is made more copies and more copies of things because they keep downloading instead of just navigating to here and then opening it. Now,
So
when
can I ask, Annalena?
Yep.
So currently, our file structure, part of it is our clients, a folder for each client, and then in each client, a folder for each job we do for them. How would that correspond to teams? Would it be one team for clients and then inside that folders, or would it be a team per client?
How do you want to structure your teams? I don't know if you've got one client who is multiple clients who are part of a job.
And mostly just one client by itself we work for at a time.
So you can create a team for each client. Is that what you?
But we might have multiple projects for that client. Some may be happening concurrently. Some might have a year in between them, etc.
Yeah, so that would be the client name. And then each of these, the channels are the projects that you have.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the client. And then within that client, you work on a project, and then that project's done and dusted. Then you work on another project, and then you work on another project, but it's always for the same client. So you're creating channels.
And then you can restrict access to those channels to the different people working on the different projects.
So the team, the people that you invited to the team have access to all of those. So if you then say, well, hang on a minute, no, yes, that company, but no, not everybody needs to know or be involved or have access or view this, then you have to create a separate team.
This could be our issue, Tim.
Yeah. Because if you create it as private, then you can't do meetings and you're blocked from doing other things, which is the whole point of using Teams in the first place. So you actually have to create, I know what you're saying. Okay, so you've got a client, lots of projects, but not everybody who's working on this project needs to be able to have access to this one.
Right.
Yeah, so it has to be a different team. So you have to give it a different. So I would create a team not by client name. I would create a team by the project. So project blah blah blah. You know who the client is for project blah blah blah.
Does that need to correspond to the file structure in OneDrive? Because it probably keeps the same.
It flows through. Because whatever you do in Teams, this is what you're seeing here.
It's one and the same, Tim.
It's one and the same. See how this one says incident report? That's the team. That's the channel. That's another channel.
But I'm just thinking, if we've got a lot of projects happening across lots of clients. If we go to OneDrive, is that just going to be a really long list of all projects across all clients then? Or is it still structured into folders by client?
Well, this is if you're creating them through the team, this is how you're seeing it here. Let me just show you, or let me just mention one more thing, sorry, and I'll show you what it looks like on the desktop. So I don't know if that will
that'll help.
Make sense. Yeah. This is the only place where you can synchronize. So if you've uploaded, downloaded a file, whatever, you've got it here in your OneDrive, and you're going to the desktop and you go, man, it's not there. You need to come here and hit synchronize, and then it will show up on your desktop. I'm going to go to my desktop and show you what it looks like, because there's two different little icons that you're looking for. See this one here? It says OneDrive AZ Solutions. Yeah. And then there's another one. Where's my other one? OneDrive Personal, I think. OneDrive Personal is my my OneDrive that's for me, still the organisation one, but it's just my one, my personal one. Nobody else can see these unless I decided to share them. And then there's this one. Where is it? Oops, here it is there, it just showed up. This one, see how it's got like a little, it's supposed to be a picture of a building. See that one? That's a picture of the building. And that, what you're seeing there, is the names of all of the teams that I created. That's what it looks like. I think my screen's refreshing a bit too many times.
And so you can't create a folder in here, Annalia, without it actually being a team.
No, you can from
within OneDrive.
You can create, let me just have a look. Yeah, but for the team. So if I'm in training, let me just have a look. General. So let me create a folder. It lets me create a folder, but I'm not sure if it'll create it at the other end. Hang on. Created from desktop. So that should effectively be a new channel. You can't sync your OneDrive IT files right now. Try again later. All right. Because I've got a different login for that one, I think. You might have to try that on your end, but because that one's the Teams one, I'm not sure if that's actually applicable from here, but the OneDrive, that's your personal one. You know how I went to OneDrive, but this one, My Files, this one you can create folders, as many as you like, from the desktop or from here for the personal one. So the personal one is this one here.
Yeah, we don't ever really want anyone to have anything on their personal one, to be honest.
Yeah, okay.
We want to be able to have it on a company structure, but restricted
Oh, okay.
by project.
So this one here, I should be able to refresh here. There it is, OneDrive personal.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe that's something your IT person can do.
Yeah, we're going to have to talk
that
about
bit.
that offline, I think, just to understand how that's going to work. Okay. Sorry, I don't want to bog us down in that, but
That's okay. So now that
Sam,
oh, Sam's got a question. Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
sorry.
Yep.
So my question, I guess, well, first of all, I was going to say I just tested that as well and went to my OneDrive on the File Explorer and it all came back into the OneDrive online. But I'm not sure that I can see it on Teams. But my question was, if someone sends me an email with attachments, normally I would go save and it automatically goes through the file server, the File Explorer process to save it. And I just wanted to double check, is that still going to get it to where I want it to go to?
Yeah. So when you're in, well, so if I was in Word, right, this is a same process. Somebody sent me this and when you go to save.
Yeah, no, I'm not saving from Word, I'm saving from Outlook.
Yeah, but the dialog box will be the same. So when you're in Outlook and it says to you, where do you want to save it? Where do you want to position it? You're going to be able to see your OneDrive.
Okay.
Because it's a save dialog box. It's your normal, this is your normal save dialog box.
Yeah.
So you go to the option for browse and then it'll get to this one here. So you can actually choose to point to the desktop, or if you have your Dropbox or something should be listed here, I presume.
Yeah.
So you can still go off and navigate and save it to your
The relevant
OneDrive,
OneDrive.
or you can save it to wherever your other drives are.
But if
It's like you get access, it gives you access to your normal Windows Explorer, where you can go and find your OneDrive options or your whatever else you've got. Yeah. So that process will remain the same, basically. And you choose whether you want to save it to OneDrive or not. Nat, did you have a question? Yep.
Nick uses Teams and all this sort of stuff all the time, so it'll be useful to have a chat with him about how he's set it up with BlueScope, because he has meetings, he has projects, he has project teams and all that sort of stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah.
He gets raving about
We'll
it.
need to talk about it offline. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, right.
Yep. So just other than posts and files, so when you're in that team, you can, upload and so forth with the files. There's a feature here called Wiki. Just let me know if you have that or not, because it might be something you can add.
No, I haven't got it.
Haven't got it.
No.
There's my Wiki. Yeah. Okay, you got a little plus sign on the top?
Yeah.
All right, when you hit the plus sign, in the little search bar at the top, just type in Wiki. This is where you can get a whole heap of other apps that you can add to any particular channel, right? And I'll tell you a couple that are interesting, I think. Wiki pages, it's kind of like a sticky notes kind of thing that you can have. I'll give you some examples of what would you put in a wiki in just a second. But while I'm in here, did everybody find the wiki one? And hit the little plus sign here so it adds it for you?
Yeah.
All right. You can run a little poll. So if you've got a little, questions that you want to send out to people, there is the whiteboard. There's so many other varieties of whiteboards that you can use. I don't know if you use Mentimeter, and there was, all the names don't come to my head right now. But whiteboard is nice, basic, simple. If you like a whiteboard thing that you can use and add when you're in your meetings, you can actually use this whiteboard as well. If you come in here and you select Excel, you were mentioning, Jessica, that you have an Excel spreadsheet that everybody needs to use for a certain thing. And so you can file it away and then everybody has to go off and find where it is. Or you can have it here so that when you click on the bar that says Excel or the name of whatever the thing is, that Excel spreadsheet is already there open and everybody just starts typing away at it.
Yep.
That way they don't have to hunt for it.
Yep. Okay, good.
You can design forms, like very, very basic forms, like an evaluation form, like a question form, like a menu form, you know, certain questions that you ask your clients all the time. You can set up a little form and it can keep track of who's replied, when they've replied, you know, all that kind of stuff. So that could be handy too. OneNote, it's part of the Microsoft Office suite, and OneNote is another tool to you know, when you've got random information and you go, I just don't know where to put this, so I'll just write it on this bit of paper and I'll write this one on a sticky note and there's a link for something, so I'll make a folder with all the links and then you can't remember what link, where that link is because you've got 500 million built up. Whereas here you can have it collected. So OneNote is another tool that's pretty cool. And Task by Planner is actually the planner. So the one with the tasks that I said I was going to show you. So at Power BI, and there's like, it just doesn't end, this thing. All right, so hopefully you've picked a wiki. Yep, and I'll explain how the wiki one works. I'll give you some examples. So when you've got wiki, I've got this one here with when COVID was really into it. So I've got COVID and then the processes, and then I might have just put a little heading here and then just a couple of bullet points. So you get all of the basic formatting commands up the top. So you can do bullets and tables and whatnot. And yeah, when you're not feeling well, what should you do? There's a little plus sign there. Another example is for first aid. Maybe you need to tell people who's the first aid officer in your organisation, where should they go, what's the number, or maybe you have to do the first aid. I don't know if it's every year or every 2 years. Do you guys have to do that? The St. John's thingo, whatever. So, you know, maybe you'd write something that, hey, you know, when like they'll come in here and go first aid, oh yeah, who's the next one that's got to get trained up on that? And then they'll come into this one place to just have a look at it. Styles guides. Sometimes people need to find where the style guides are, and sure you can go to your marketing website and then rummage around through there, but you know, this could also be a quick place to access some of those sorts of things. Yeah, so I don't know. Have you got any thoughts of a way that you might use that area, or don't think so, or?
Possibly. I mean, we could have a few templates set up in there for our teams that we use.
Okay. I'll show you, Clariton Homes. This is the tasks. So Tim, you were asking about how the task bit works. So this task is in Planner. So it's more about you have a team, and it's like everybody in that group. You can label your tasks into bundles. So this is things that have to be done. These are inspections that have to be carried out. And then this is all the different tasks happening down the bottom here. And you can create as many little categories going across. Some of these have a date. So let me just change that date to, what date are we on? 22. 23 Feb, the 27th. Okay. So if I go to the chart, it gives me a little chart and it tells me all the tasks and where they're at, whether they've been completed, not completed, and so forth. And if I go a little bit further down, they're broken up in the categories that I had. And over here, I don't have assigned to people, but these would be the names of the people that you've assigned the task to, so you could see how they're going with the tasks. And there's a schedule. This is the little map that I was saying. So where's today? There we go. So there's a little button there that says have one or more things happening there. But what you're seeing is kind of like a little, I think I just moved it, damn it. But you can see like a little marker or a little underline when there's a task happening there. So just visually, and it only gives you the option for month and week as your visual. But it just can give you at a glance, you know, oh, that task is coming up and, you know, it's got to be done by Monday or whatever. Yeah, so you can choose to view it as a list as well. There's just different ways to view it. And that's Planner. And Planner, you can get it from up here. So when you click up the top here, whoops, where's my Planner? Oh, it's not showing. Planner, that one there is Planner. And you can create multiple plans here.
Yep. So you can have all your projects there, for example.
Yeah, all the different projects. So there's Claritin, the one that I added to just that team, that particular team. And then there's another one that you can create. These are the members that are part of it.
Yeah.
Tim, does that sound like what you were after? You were asking me something similar there.
Yeah, I was just asking before if there any reporting on that, as in we kind of showed there the stats that were happening, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all
That
good.
was the stats. Yeah, I think that was answering your question on that bit. Yeah, the lunch order, that was the form. So you can design a form and then have it access it from here.
Yeah.
So the
There's
form.
heaps of things, heaps of apps, basically.
So from the top, the apps
Yeah.
command there, that's where you'll find. I'll go to my home one. There's forms there. To do is a little bit. It's still a task, but if you're going to assign and you need to keep a track of who's, you know, where things are going, then Planner is pretty good. If it's only for yourself, then I would use To Do or the normal tasks in Outlook. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so just adding up the top here, you just can add polls as well that I was mentioning. And when you have a post on the top, oops. I think it's going a little slow. There. When you hover over a chat, on the top on the right, other than the emojis, right, there's a little 3 dots there. Do you see that on any of your chats there? Because that's where you find the option for save this message. Remember, there's lots of messages going backwards and forwards in lots of different chats, and sometimes you might want to go back and refer back to that particular message, and it can be a bit hard to go find it. I mean, you can go Googling, or not Googling, but searching with a search bar up the top, but sometimes it could still be hard. And at the beginning of the session, I showed you where you can see your saved messages. So from here, you can save a message, and it will appear when you come to the command up here and say saved. That's where they all will appear.
Yeah.
And you can then tick it to unsave it, but then it's, you know, you got to go find it again if you want it.
We're running out of time, Annalise. We probably need to do meeting.
Well, the meeting was the calendar bit that I showed you before. So where I'd say if you're going to create it, I'd stick to Outlook because that's where you live, and that's where you've got a lot more of the features. Or just you know, if you want to create a direct meeting, you can, I don't know if I can.
But then in terms of running a meeting, I mean.
Well, yeah, so when you join, it's
Yep.
like what we're looking at now. So on the top, you've just got the chat down the bottom. And the only thing I'll point out about the chat is that because I included all of you guys internally, like, and you guys signed in through my one, you do actually see the attached files. But I want to point out that if you invite people from some are internal and some are external, you may not actually see that chat, that attach files button there. Yeah, that's just the main thing.
Is
there.
this when we're in the actual meeting, sorry, or when you're setting it up?
No, when you're actually in the actual meeting. So you should be able to see on the right side now of, if you click on the chat panel, along the bottom you've got the format option, and then the third one along is an attach files.
I can't even see the chat option.
Oh, up the top where you see people and raise hand.
So I've got pop up, people, raise hand, react, view, Q&A, camera, mic, and share. Just see if it's under more.
The first button should be the chat. I've got mine as the first one. I don't know if you've got it switched order.
Have you got chat? Anyone else?
I don't have chat.
No.
Natalie's got chat.
No, no chat.
Where did you find your chat, Natalie? Was it under the 3 dots or was it already visually there?
I've got
You're on mute, Nat.
chat bubbles on.
Got Q&A.
Right, so you've got the 9 dots on the left-hand side, then activity, and then chat. Is that the one we're talking about? Because we're talking about a different
in the
chat.
actual meeting. No? So in the meeting screen that we're looking at.
Okay, so sorry, go back into the calendar. Yeah.
So no, so where you're in the meeting that I'm actually showing you now, and on the top, it's got the button for leave when you want to finish the meeting with me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then to the left of that is the sharing button, which is a box with an arrow pointing up. That's how you share if you wanted to share your screens with your participants, like what we did before. No?
Yeah, the share button's there.
Yeah, and then there's the microphone and then the camera.
Yeah, correct.
Not when I'm looking at it, but sure. I mean, on your thing, yes. On my thing, no.
No, not on your thing, because you're not on mine. On
yes, okay. On yours, I can see that. Are we talking about the video camera and whatever else is next to it?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's the one. And up the top,
but there's no chat button.
There's no chat button.
No,
no chat button.
I can't see a chat button either. Like, so where are we talking about? Because I thought we were talking about chat, which says chat.
Yeah, but out of all the command buttons where it says raise hand, reaction, people, so you're able to see people, and then there's view. You can view people in the gallery or in the together mode. Which is,
all there.
Yeah.
Just not chat.
No
Just
chat.
can't see the chat.
No, that's really odd.
Well, at least we can all not see the chat.
Yeah. You can obviously see it, Annalie, but we can't.
I'm pretty sure it's been there before in other chats at some point. I feel like I've used that before, but maybe it's Arcane login that did that.
We can react.
Well, that's pretty odd because you've got the button for people or participants.
Yep.
People.
Yeah. You can raise your hand.
And right next to that should be the chat. So, okay, so if I put something in the chat, you tell me you can't see anything.
Is it maybe a mix setting? It somehow?
Well, I just put something in the chat, so you should all be actually able to see it, and we should be able to talk backwards and forwards.
No.
Okay. But I wouldn't have blocked that.
There's a Q&A button.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see the Q&A button, but you should also be having another button for the chat. All right, can I end my meeting and then get maybe Natalie to create a meeting and invite us all to the meeting, and then let's see if we see that chat. How about that? So, Natalie, all you need to do is hit the button.
That's putting you on the spot, Nat.
Yeah, I know. I you know, whatever. Okay.
That's some
So
training,
what
isn't
time?
it?
What time do
Well,
you
if
want your
somebody
meeting?
else wants to do it, that's fine.
No,
Whatever.
no. What time do you want your meeting set for? I mean, there's a button that says new meeting, so.
Yeah, new meeting, like, or meet. Yeah, new meeting now.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm figuring. Well,
But-
it just says
but
new
I have
meeting.
to
Yeah.
end this one.
Oh well, there's no guarantee you're ever getting back into a meeting. I just have to say right at this outset. Right. So you want meet now, yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
but we'll need to get out. You've got everybody's email, so you just need mine. So my email address is
We know this is a bad idea, don't we?
This is
that's why you
called,
do this at the last.
yeah,
That's why you
this
do
is
this
training,
last of all. All right, I'm going to put it in here. Info at azsolutions.com.au. So can you see it from the screen, and maybe you can
Write it down. Sure.
Write it down.
Right. So I'm just going to email everyone and send them a link. Yeah, and everyone's going to get out of this thing. Yeah.
Yep, we're going to get out, and you're going to be the driver.
Okay. And if it doesn't work in 5 minutes, you're going to have to do the
I'll
invite.
call you back.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
All right. See
Bye.
you soon.
Bye. Good luck.